There's a phrase you've been saying your entire life without realizing that every time it leaves your lips, you're not just speaking, you're programming reality. 2 words, so small, so ordinary, we never question them. We use them to explain how we feel, what we think, who we are. But beneath their simplicity lies one of the most potent spiritual technologies in existence. I am. Think about how often those words shape your day. I am tired. I am broke. I am not good at this. I am just trying to survive. Or maybe, I am strong. I am healing. I am ready. Most people assume these phrases are harmless descriptions of the moment. They're not. Every time you say I am, you are issuing a command to your subconscious mind and a directive to the quantum field. You're not describing reality. You're selecting it. I am is the interface between your identity and the infinite possibilities around you. These words are not observations. They are activations. And science is starting to confirm what mystics have said for centuries. When you declare I am, you are entering a frequency, and that frequency becomes your life. The real question is, are you using this power consciously or unconsciously? Let's make this real. You've heard of the placebo effect. Someone takes a sugar pill, believes it's medicine, and their body begins to heal. What's actually happening? It's deeper than belief. It's identity. The person isn't just thinking, I hope this works. Something inside them shifts into, I am healing. And that identity creates measurable, physiological change. Now extend that same principle into your relationships, your finances, your purpose. Every area of your life mirrors who you believe you are, not who you wish to be. That's the difference most people miss. You don't attract what you want. You attract what your nervous system accepts as I am. Positive thinking isn't enough. That's surface level. The real transformation happens when you rewire the subconscious identity blueprint, running 95% of your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. And that blueprint is sculpted day after day by the I am statements you speak out loud or silently every single day. From a quantum perspective, this aligns perfectly. The observer effect shows that the act of observation shapes the behavior of particles. But what shapes your observation? Your consciousness, your expectations, your identity. So when you say I am, you align your conscious and subconscious mind with a specific version of reality, and that alignment collapses infinite possibilities into one lived experience, the one you chose. And this isn't just spirituality, it's neuroscience. Repetition plus emotion creates neural pathways. Your brain doesn't care if your I am is empowering or destructive. It simply obeys. It builds whatever reality you keep broadcasting. So ask yourself honestly, what have you been commanding? Because I am is not an affirmation. It is a frequency. And your frequency never lies. You can say I am abundant all you want, but if your internal state is wired for lack, the field receives lack. That's why this work isn't about repeating mantras, it's about embodying identity. When you say I am with coherence, when your thoughts, emotions, and body all align, you become a magnet not to random luck, but to the exact vibrational match of who you've declared yourself to be. And that's why this video matters. Because if you keep saying I am unconsciously, based on past pain, limitation, or programming, you'll keep collapsing versions of reality that don't serve you. But if you wake up, if you start choosing your I am with awareness and energy, everything changes. In the next chapter, we'll go deeper into how the quantum field responds to identity, how the I am frequency actually works on a subatomic level, and why saying the right thing isn't enough unless you become the version of you that feels it, lives it, embodies it. But for now, just pause, take a breath, and ask yourself, what have I been telling the universe I am? Because that answer is the life you're living. To understand why I am is so powerful, we need to step into a realm where science and spirit finally meet, the quantum level. It's here, in the invisible field of possibility, that your identity isn't just psychological, it's vibrational. And the truth is, you've been collapsing reality with your consciousness all along. You just weren't doing it intentionally. Let's start with a foundational concept in quantum physics, the observer effect. This principle states that the mere act of observation affects the outcome of an event at the quantum scale. Electrons, for example, exist in a cloud of probabilities. They are waves of potential until they are observed. The moment we look, measure, or focus our attention, that wave collapses into a particle, into a definitive location, into a reality. In other words, observation creates the conditions for manifestation. Now apply that to your life. Your attention, your focus, your expectations, these aren't passive mental activities. They are acts of quantum observation, and nothing reveals what you're focused on more than the words I am. Because when you say I am, you're not just observing, you're identifying. You're locking in a version of self, and the field responds accordingly. You're not just the observer. You're the selector. And this is where most people miss the mark. They try to manifest by focusing on things they want: money, love, healing. But wanting isn't observing. Wishing isn't declaring. The field doesn't respond to what you hope for. It responds to who you are. And who you are is broadcast every time you say or feel I am. This is the difference between passive intention and active coherence. You can say I am abundant 100 times, but if your internal state is still wired for scarcity, the wave doesn't collapse into abundance. The frequency isn't matched. The field doesn't misunderstand you, it reflects you. That's why Dr. Joe Dispenza teaches that your personality creates your personal reality. Your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors form an electromagnetic signature that communicates directly with the quantum field. And your identity, your I am, sits at the center of that signal. Think of it like tuning a radio. The station you hear depends on the frequency you set. You don't receive 104.7 FM if you're tuned to 87.3. It's not personal, it's physics. In the same way, you can't receive the experience of love, peace, or abundance if your identity is tuned to lack, fear, or doubt. Now here, where it gets even more powerful, according to physicist John Wheeler, reality is not something fixed that we observe, it's something participatory. He said, we live in a participatory universe. In other words, reality is unfinished until we show up and interact with it. Your consciousness isn't just a passenger in this process, it's the sculptor. And I am is the chisel. When you say I am healthy and you feel it in your body, when your cells align with that statement, when your energy matches the signal of wellness, you're not asking the universe for health. You're collapsing into the version of you that already exists in perfect health. The field doesn't need convincing, it needs coherence. What if the version of you you've been chasing wasn't ahead of you at all, but already within you? What if the new you wasn't something to build, but something to uncover? Because here is the most liberating truth of this entire journey. The new you already exists. Not symbolically, not theoretically, but as a real, vibrational identity already encoded in the quantum field, fully formed and waiting for one thing: your alignment. Your I am. You don't have to invent her. You don't have to earn him. You simply have to remember what it feels like to live as them, and then choose, moment by moment, to become that memory in motion. Everything you felt along this path, the resonance, the resistance, the coherence, has been guiding you back to yourself. Not the version shaped by wounds or survival or approval, but the self beyond all of that. The self who has always known. I am enough. I am infinite. I am home. You were never disconnected, only distracted. And now you remember. So let's bring this home. Look at your life right now, not with judgment but with awareness. Ask yourself, what I am has been running my life? What identity have I been rehearsing in my habits, my thoughts, my language? Because whatever you've been repeating, you've been becoming. But today is different. Today you see the truth. And when you see the truth, you rise in frequency. And when you rise in frequency, you naturally become unavailable for anything that doesn't match who you're becoming. You don't need more proof to step into the new you. You stepping into it is the proof. Yes, your environment may still reflect the old identity. Your money may still look tight. Your relationships may still echo the past. But here's the secret everyone overlooks. Reality has a delay. Just like starlight, many stars burned out long ago, yet their light is only reaching us now. Your current circumstances are the light of an identity you no longer are. What you see is not your now, it's your before. And when you finally understand that, the delay stops feeling like a threat and starts becoming a promise. Because if this reality is the echo of who you used to be, imagine what's already on its way from the identity you just stepped into. You don't need to force. You don't need to beg. The universe is not withholding anything from you. You're no longer a seeker. You are a selector. And I am is your tuning fork. So here at the end of this journey, the invitation is simple. No more waiting. No more wishing. Just becoming. And if you're ready to take this transformation deeper, to turn this shift into a lived identity rather than a temporary moment, I created something powerful for you. It's called Awaken Your Quantum Power, a guide designed to help you fully embody the identity we've been awakening here. Inside, you'll find practical tools, daily rituals, and deeper teachings to collapse the old self and anchor your new timeline. The link is in the pinned comment, calling you into something bigger. A new resonance. A new reality. A new you. The you that was never lost, only waiting for two simple words. I am. I am confident. I am ready. I am already living the life I used to wait for. If you do it with emotional alignment, with physiological coherence, you begin to collapse into that version. The field starts reorganizing around that identity. Subtle shifts happen. Your posture changes. Your decisions change. You stop tolerating what no longer fits. You start noticing synchronicities, people, ideas that match the new timeline. You didn't force a shift, you tuned to one. And the old timeline, it starts to fade, not because it was destroyed, but because you stopped feeding it. That's the part no one tells you. Old realities don't need to be fought. They need to be unfollowed. Your attention is the currency of creation. What you stop energizing dissolves. What you embody expands. This is not metaphor, it's measurable. Your thoughts produce electrical signals. Your emotions produce magnetic fields. Together they create the electromagnetic signature of your identity. And that signal is the selector of timelines. When your inner world becomes consistent with a new I am, the external world adapts, not all at once, not with fireworks, but with alignment like gears clicking into place. What once felt far away begins to feel obvious, natural, faded. Because to the version of you who's already living it, it is. And the most empowering part, you don't have to know how. You just have to know who. Your job is not to micromanage the quantum field. Your job is to live from the version of you that already has it handled. That means acting, feeling, and deciding as if it's already true. Because the quantum field doesn't respond to delay, it responds to now. This is what Neville Goddard meant when he said, "Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Not visualize. Not hope. Assume. Enter it. Live in it until the world catches up. And eventually, it will feel less like something you're practicing and more like something you are. That's when you know you've jumped, not because everything suddenly looks different, but because you do. You respond differently. You walk differently. You no longer seek the future, you embody it. And the people around you will feel it. Even if they can't name it, they'll say, 'You've changed.' And they'll be right. Because you have. So if you've been waiting for a sign that it's time to choose, this is it. Not to fix yourself. Not to prove anything. But to align with what already exists, with the frequency that already knows. You are not becoming. You are remembering. In the next and final chapter, we'll seal this journey. We'll anchor the most important truth of all, that your new self is not a destination, but a return. A return to the version of you that never forgot. You've been taught to look forward, to chase, to strive, to climb towards some better version of yourself that lives just beyond the next breakthrough. That's the secret no one told you. Every possible version of you already exists. The confident you, the healed you, the wealthy you, the awakened you. They're all real as this one, stored in the quantum field as wave patterns. I am is how you choose which one to animate. But here, the problem. Most of us built our I am story by accident, through trauma, repetition, or the opinions of others. You didn't wake up one day and consciously decide I am not enough. That story was downloaded from childhood, culture, and conditioning. And once it became familiar, it became default, the identity you didn't choose but kept living. It's time to interrupt that loop. Because now you know identity is not fixed, it's fluid. It's quantum. You are not your past. You are not your patterns. You are the observer, the field, the frequency, and you can reselect at any moment. Neville Goddard said it best. Claim it, feel it, and it will be yours. He wasn't talking about wishful thinking. He was pointing to the mechanism of quantum embodiment. When you claim I am and align emotionally, neurologically, and energetically with that version of you, the field must comply. Not because it's magical, but because it's law. So here's what this means for your life. Your next breakthrough, your next reality shift, won't come from effort alone. It will come from embodiment, not from saying I am like a robot, but from becoming it. In the next chapter, we're going to bridge the science with your soul. We'll explore how spiritual teachings from Neville Goddard, Florence Scovel Shinn, and ancient scriptures all point to the same truth. You are the I am. And the moment you claim it with coherence, you step into a new script, one that was waiting for you all along. Until then, ask yourself this. If every I am is a command to the universe, what identity have I been instructing reality to repeat? There's a moment in every awakening journey when you realize your outer world was never the source of your pain, it was just the mirror. It's not punishing you, it's reflecting you. Not what you say you want, but who you believe you are. And this is the spiritual key to the I am frequency that most people miss. You don't get what you ask for. You get what you embody. If the universe is a mirror, then I am is the fingerprint you leave on the glass, the identity signal that tells reality what to reflect. This is not spiritual poetry, it's a practical map, and it's been echoed for centuries by mystics and teachers who understood something long before quantum physics caught up. Neville Goddard, one of the clearest voices in metaphysical manifestation, taught that imagination and identity are one. He said, "You become what you claim I am to be. If you persist in that assumption, it will harden into fact." Notice he didn't say, "You become what you think." He said, "What you claim." Because claiming is not passive, it's a spiritual decision, a vibrational stand. So let's get honest. What have you been claiming lately? I am overwhelmed. I am stuck. I am trying, but nothing's working. You're not wrong for saying those things, you're human. But every time you declare them, you're putting on a vibrational costume. You're saying to the mirror, "This is who I am." And the mirror, without judgment, says, "As you wish." But what if you stopped asking the mirror to show you something new, and instead became someone new in front of it? That's the shift. You don't wait to feel confident to say, "I am confident." You say it, and let the identity begin to rewire the body. You don't wait for love to arrive before declaring, "I am love." You declare it and become the magnet for what matches it, because your external life is always catching up to your internal declaration. This is where science and spirit shake hands. Dr. Joe Dispenza has shown that when people enter deep meditative coherence and begin to rehearse a new identity, emotionally, neurologically, energetically, their brain and body begin to respond as if the new reality is already happening. Hormones shift, neural patterns change, cells begin expressing a new set of genes. The field starts mirroring a new frequency. This is not just mindset, it's embodiment. The secret is, the version of you you've been waiting for is not somewhere in the future. It's already present in the field as a potential. And every time you say, "I am" with coherence, you're tuning into that version like a broadcast tower. You're not inventing it, you're remembering it. Florence Scovel Shinn called it the divine pattern. She said, "There is a place that you are to fill and no one else can fill it. Something you are to do, which no one else can do." Sit quietly with your spine straight. Close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths into your heart space. Bring to mind the identity you want to activate. Choose one clear declaration. For example, "I am secure. I am magnetic. I am free." Now feel it. Imagine what it would be like to fully live from that identity. What would you see? How would you walk? How would people respond to your energy? Drop into the feeling, not the words, the emotion. Let your body begin to believe it. Smile if it helps. Breathe as that version of you. Relax into it. Anchor the state. Gently place your hand over your heart and repeat slowly and meaningfully, punctuated text. "I am the frequency of my new reality." Sit in silence. Let the field calibrate. Let your nervous system digest the upgrade. Just be. You see, when you do this consistently, something profound starts to happen. The resistance weakens. The old voice fades not because you fought it, but because you stopped feeding it. You are not trying to force a new belief. You are teaching your body through emotion, through coherence, that a new identity is safe. And once it feels safe, it becomes familiar. And once it's familiar, it becomes normal. And once it's normal, the mirror reflects it. This is how you become someone new, not by waiting for evidence, but by becoming the evidence. So let's revisit what's really happening here. You are not just rewiring your brain. You are recoding your electromagnetic field. You are shifting the dominant signal that the quantum universe responds to. And over time, the people, opportunities, and experiences that match your new "I am" begin to find you. Not because you chased them, but because you became the tuning fork for them. But here's the part most people overlook: consistency. Repetition is what tells the field, "This is who I am now." It's not about saying, "I am powerful" once and waiting for results. It's about making it a state you return to, even when nothing outside has changed yet. That's what makes you dangerous to limitation. That's what makes you magnetic. And so, before we continue to the next phase, the timeline shift that occurs when you stabilize your new frequency, take a moment to reflect. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are in the process of remembering who you really are. And that remembering begins with a declaration. Comment below, "I am the frequency of my new reality." Let it be a line in the sand, a statement to the field, a signal that the rewrite has already begun. Because it has. There's a version of you that already lives the life you're trying to create, a version that doesn't doubt, doesn't hesitate, doesn't wonder if it's possible, because for them, it already is. They've made the leap. They're living in a timeline where your desires aren't dreams, they're normal. And that version isn't out of reach. They're waiting for you to tune in. This is where everything we've explored so far begins to converge, because you're not just declaring new beliefs when you say, I am. You're tuning your frequency. And when you tune your frequency, you don't just shift how you feel, you shift what you're aligned with in the quantum field. This is the real secret behind what people call timeline jumping. Let's make this clear. You're not changing the outside world. You're changing which version of you the world reflects. In quantum terms, every potential you can imagine already exists as a wave of probability. You are surrounded right now by infinite timelines, and each one corresponds to a different state of consciousness, a different I am. The timeline where you're still stuck, overwhelmed, or lost, that one is real. But so is the timeline where you've already remembered your worth, claimed your abundance, stepped into love. So what separates them? Not time, not effort, not luck. Frequency. The version of you that lives in timeline A is broadcasting a different vibrational signal than the version in timeline B. And that signal, that identity, is selected moment by moment through what you feel and believe to be true about yourself. This is why I am is more than affirmation, it's access. Let's say you start declaring, that place is not out there. It's a vibrational space, a frequency, a version of you that already knows what it feels like to be whole, seen, worthy, powerful. I am is the spiritual GPS that gets you there. Not by effort, but by alignment. But let's be real. This isn't about faking it. You can't say I am successful while vibrating with fear and expect the universe to be fooled. The field doesn't respond to your words, it responds to your state. That's why the path of I am is not about pretending. It's about becoming. That's where the real transformation begins, when you shift from saying to being. And yes, it's uncomfortable. Claiming a new identity means letting go of the one that feels safe, the one that got you here, the one that may have been built through pain, through protection, through survival. But make no mistake, survival mode is not your home. It's a hallway. I am is the doorway. So what would happen if today, not tomorrow, you gave yourself permission to declare the truth your soul already knows? I am not broken, I am becoming. I am not behind, I am right on time. I am not lost, I am aligned. Feel the difference. You're not trying to manifest a thing, you're activating a self. A self that already exists, already knows, already radiates from the field. All you're doing is remembering how to speak from it, because in the quantum universe, time is not linear. Every version of you exists now. And when you match the identity, when you feel it, live it, speak it, that version becomes accessible. The mirror shifts. Reality reorganizes, and the truth is you don't need permission, you don't need proof, you just need to decide. In the next chapter, we're going to confront the friction that often shows up when you begin this process, the inner resistance, the doubts, the subconscious patterns that say, this can't be that easy, and we'll explore how to dissolve those blocks and reprogram your field from the inside out. But before we go there, ask yourself honestly, if the mirror is responding to my identity, what part of me am I ready to retire? And what version am I finally ready to claim? By now, you've probably felt it, that flicker of power when you declare something like I am free or I am abundant. It resonates, it stirs something ancient, but then almost immediately a voice pushes back, quiet but firm. No, you're not. It sounds like reason, it feels like reality, but it's actually resistance. And if you don't understand what's happening in that moment, you'll think the process isn't working, when in fact it's just beginning. Let's be clear. Resistance is not a sign of failure. It's a sign of friction between your current identity and your expanded identity. You're not doing it wrong. You're waking up. Think of it like this. Every time you say "I am" with a new declaration, you're installing a new frequency into your system. But your subconscious mind, which has been trained to protect you based on past data, will immediately scan for inconsistency. It will say, "That's not who we are." Not because it hates you, because it believes it's keeping you safe. This is the paradox of personal transformation. Your nervous system is wired for familiarity, not fulfillment. So even if the new identity feels exciting, "I am worthy, I am successful," your body will tense, your thoughts will spiral, your old stories will try to reassert control. This is not sabotage. It's outdated programming, and now you're here to rewrite it. But how? It begins with understanding that your subconscious doesn't respond to logic. It responds to repetition, emotion, and embodiment. If you want to dissolve resistance, you can't just think a new thought, you have to feel a new self. This is where coherence becomes your superpower. Dr. Joe Dispenza's research shows that when your heart and brain enter a state of coherence, meaning they're in sync emotionally and electrically, your field becomes more organized. Your nervous system calms, your body becomes receptive, and your intentions begin to broadcast a clear signal to the quantum field. It's not about saying "I am louder." It's about saying it from a body that believes you. So here's a simple but powerful practice to bring you into that state. Do it daily, especially when the old identity wants to reclaim its territory. It is the quantum coherence exercise, embodying your new I am. Let's start.